Hi everybody and welcome to session 2. In this session you're going to be doing a couple things, and you can look at the checklist to see what those things are. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and keep that checklist there for a second just to kind of eyeball and make sure I did this right. Alright, so the first main thing that you're going to do in this module is make your wiki foundation. This is like a portfolio in which you post much of your work between now and the remainder of the semester. In the last week of this semester, in the last session, you'll submit an assignment called Final Portfolio in SWOT. And this wiki is what you will submit. And by that time, this wiki will have more information and more of your work and artifacts and some light reflections that you do about your experiences this semester. And then I'll sort of grade you at the very end as that final portfolio. So you actually submit this wiki multiple times between now and the end of the semester. And it might seem kind of redundant and crazy, but it works. It works because I feel like the Dropbox is an appropriate place to put individual feedback on individual assignments. And yes, you could submit it once, but I think people need to have we need to revisit it multiple times. So that's why you submit the wiki over and over again. And technically, it is different links that you submit each time, for the most part. Okay, so you're going to build that wiki. Follow those instructions very carefully. In fact, why don't I go over there just very quickly into the assignment and say one thing. Gosh. I think I say too much sometimes, so this is kind of risky for me to do this. Be sure you follow all the steps, okay? Because here's what happens. A lot of people do step 1, step 2, maybe step 3, and they stop and they turn it in. So basically they've created a wiki and they've changed its color maybe, and they stop there. Don't do that. Keep going. Step 4, you're going to create wiki navigation that looks like my example wiki. I have an example I provide you. I want your wiki to look exactly like my example. And then, of course, yours can have a different color. You're going to have your own web name. You're going to have your own standards. Very quickly, you'll have your own stuff on here. Okay, but in my example, you see I have these links on the side. You're going to need a page called BYOT Podcast, Teacher Welcome Video, Readings, Digital Movie, Assistive Tech Project, Unit Plan Modification, Promethean Flip Chart, Tech Explorations, NETS-T, SWOT and Goals, and some links. Okay, so just be sure, please, that you follow all of the steps, because what I end up having to say is you didn't finish steps 5 and 6, or you didn't do steps 6 and 7, or 6, 7, and 8, or sometimes it's step 2 and 5. It's a little variety of steps, but just go through the whole thing, and do not make your wiki look like the one in here. This is a generic tutorial about Wikispaces that helps you just kind of learn how to do basic things in it, and I kind of fiddle around and make a weird wiki with page names like Diet Coke and Apple. Your wiki doesn't need to have page names like that. It needs to look like this more sort of education-oriented wiki with these names, okay? Excuse me. And so your wiki, let me emphasize this one more time. Yours needs to look like the template, and you need to be copying from the template onto yours, okay? You don't have to hand type hardly anything. So if you saw it in a video, you might question whether you need to type that. All you have to type or copy is on this wiki right here, okay? Because if you start copying what you're seeing in those videos, which are there not to show you what to type, but they're there to show you how, then you might end up putting something like concept map here. Concept map does not belong here. Or you might put something called GroupIts, because that was on a previous version. That doesn't belong here. If it's not on this example template, then it does not belong on your wiki. Okay? And then once you get the template down, you've got this basic shell, then you start customizing it and making your own. Okay, then you start putting your name, you go find your GPSs or your ASHA standards, you go find your own interesting educational movie that you post. Eventually you'll start posting your own answers to the readings questions on your wiki. It becomes your own quickly, but in the beginning it looks exactly like this one here at Wiki Portfolio Template. I'll go ahead and show you the address right here, .wikispaces.com. Okay, so all I'm I'm really digressing, right? But it's important because we have so little time in the summer. I don't have a lot of time to tell you guys repeatedly that you didn't finish all the steps. And in the spring, there was a lot of that, just kind of doing maybe 50%, 60% kind of thing. And that just, you want to get it done. You don't want to have a conversation back and forth about which step you've done. Okay, so back to the module. So that's the Wiki Foundation. You want to get that done, get it done correctly, and let me know if you have if you need any help with that. We have lots of tools where I could actually look at your computer screen and I could help you out, figure out where you're at. I'm also going to be on campus next week, Monday through Thursday, pretty much, all day. I like to get there pretty early, 8 to, let's see, 8 to actually, wow, my kids are gone. They're in Texas, so 8 to 5, I guess, is what I'll try to do next Monday through Thursday. So, but that said, please, if you come on a day that's not my office hours, do try to schedule with me if you really want to meet with me, just to make sure I'm not at a meeting or I do have a doctor's appointment on one early morning. I believe that's Wednesday, but anyway. All right, so you can work in the labs. My office is near the lab, so you can work in there and then come grab me if you need help. All right, enough. So I want you to also take a moment to think about how could you use a wiki in your future educational context as a teacher, as a speech language pathologist, or maybe you want to perform some other role. How could this tool be used in schools? It's just super easy to use. It's super easy to create student accounts. Wikispaces.com provides private teacher accounts so that you can have a lockdown private system. You create your student logins. They're able to do it. And actually, Wikispaces just created a new sort of format. The format that I have you use in this class is their old format. I need to pause a second and think about that. Okay, so I paused you for a few minutes to try to figure out how you access the Wikispaces new sort of educational wiki. And I don't necessarily encourage you to play around with that or to use that for this portfolio this semester, simply because I don't know how to guide you to do that. So basically, you'll want to make a classic wiki or a wiki that looks a wiki website. Those are two sort of options that function in the sort of classical way. If you find yourself creating the school wiki, there's a wiki that's sort of designed to be more of a teaching and learning space, which is not our purpose for the portfolio. And so it has like assessments in it, assessment stuff and discussion threads and all kinds of interactive features. And we don't need that for this assignment. But I do encourage you can make one of those and start playing around with it on your own if you like. If you need help figuring out how to make a classic wiki, if you encounter that problem, let me know. I think you may encounter that problem on wikispaces.com, and it's not really a problem. It's actually kind of cool to check out their new options. All right, so I digress. It's very dangerous if you just let me sort of talk. Okay, so for the readings, if you've done your Wiki Foundation and you've done all of your steps, then you will have created a wiki that has a readings page on it. Okay, so let me give you an example right here. On this example wiki, we have a readings page that has three different readings with little clusters of questions pertaining to each reading. And so if you've set up your wiki right, then this is one of your pages in your wiki will look like this, and then you'll be able to answer these questions about the first reading. If you have not done your Wiki Foundation yet, or if you've done it incorrectly, then you may ask the question, where are the questions to the readings page, or to the first reading? And so just keep that in mind, that you might have not finished all the steps of the wiki if you're asking where are the questions. Do try to do the Wiki Foundation before you do the reading, or at least before you tackle those questions. All right, you can read briefly about the course readings here. There's 3 of them in all. You do 1 per session from now over the next 3 sessions, so sessions 2, 3, and 4. At the end of session 4, like once it's over, I will grade the readings. So you could technically put it off a little bit. You could technically not do this reading during session 2 as I'm asking you to do. You could put it off a little later, or you could read ahead. You could do that because you have access to all of the downloads right here. All of the readings are downloadable right here. So you can read ahead if you want, or you can, do it. You have some flexibility there, but don't put it off too long. There's very few readings in this class, but they're good. They give you a good framework for technology issues in the educational context. And in the past, when I had a huge 300-page book students had to read, they honestly weren't getting much out of it because they were skimming through it, and they just didn't have enough time to read it in depth. But you have time to do a few readings more in depth. So give it the time, space it out, and don't wait till the last minute, please. At that last minute of session 4. Finally, there's a discussion on the digital school, and you want to grab the prompt here. Just click this thing and a PDF will open up and tell you, it'll kind of set the scene. There's a New York Times article here about North Carolina school and what they're doing with BYOT. I don't know that they call it BYOT in this article, but it's basically sort of a one-to-one sort of BYOT. Actually, it's not a BYOT. Sorry, it's a laptop initiative, but it may, at this point, even a year or two later, it may be transforming into BYOT also, which is another concept that you may or may not be aware of, but you will be soon. But just check out that Mooresville article and then try to make your initial posting by the Thursday of the module. I'm saying try. Try to get it up there so that other students in the class can read what you've said and respond to you. All right. So that is session 2. Let me know if you need any help, if you have any questions, if you need to visit, whether virtually, through Skype, or some other means, or in my office this week. All right, thanks.